Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Gaga Voice over here, and I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. We have passed 100 subscribers, and that's something I never thought I'd do in such a short amount of time. I just want to say thank you. It means a lot to me, and we're doing another What If Naruto was a half devil, and it's getting really good, and I hope you guys do enjoy. I'm glad for all of the support. Also, finally, episode 2 of my Minecraft Hardcore series is getting posted today as well. So go check that out. I think it's going to be I think you guys enjoy it. But let's get right into chapter 3. Chapter 3 Devil's Aptitude Test. It was early in the morning, and Naruto was still in bed. He then heard his alarm go off, but the second it started, Naruto destroyed it with Angel. Naruto sighed before he got up and walked over to take a shower in his new apartment that he had bought a month ago. Sir Toby that told him that he would have to hold back his inheritance till he was the proper age of 18, but he was to have access to his clan's accounts. He also told Naruto that his clan home needed to be refurbished and cleaned, since the house cleaners he hired stopped going there years ago. Therefore, in the meantime, this was home for Naruto. It was a nice 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment with a living room and open kitchen. The living room only held 2 couches and a reclining chair, along with a large television. His kitchen contained an electric stove and oven, as well as one of those ice dispensing refrigerators. On the side of the sink was a water dispenser, but this one was a newer type. Instead of using a bottle like most would think, this one was hooked into the pipes and purified the water that went through it. The part of all, it worked perfectly. One of the 2 rooms, one of them acted as a bedroom, and the other was a study. The study contained a desk and a very relaxing chair. Bookshelves lined the walls filled with books provided by the Sandame. His bedroom, however, held a nice king-size bed and some new wardrobes in his closet. All of it was provided by the Sandame, due to him wanting to repay Naruto for the mistake of not telling him his heritage. Naruto liked his new apartment and was glad nobody knew he lived there, since he wanted to keep this place nice and clean. He walked out of the shower, with a towel wrapped around his waist, and looked at the full-body mirror he had next to the door of said bathroom. Naruto looked himself over and couldn't help but smile at his new appearance. If it wasn't for the whisker-like marks on his cheeks, he was sure he would not be recognizable one bit. Which wasn't bad either. He saw his body had changed greatly, with Kyuubi burning all of the leftover baby fat and turning it into straight muscle. But what Naruto liked the most were his tattoos. He was sure they made him look unique and exotic in the eyes of the women around the village. They gave him a more badass kind of look. He was sure if he had never met his ancestors or the fox, for that matter, he would still look like the pathetic child wearing that kill me orange jumpsuit and would be acting like a total idiot. But today he didn't feel like dressing up, so he just put on some black pants and ninja sandals and a black mesh shirt with his headband tied around his waist like a belt. He looked over to his drawer and saw the case for his guns, so he wrapped that around himself and secured it, and just put on a black trench coat with the sleeves ripped out on it. He wanted to take it a little easy tonight. Before he left his house, he looked at his kitchen and heard his stomach growl loudly. He looked towards the refrigerator and once again heard his stomach growl. You know what? Fuck it. If I throw up, then that's all there is to it. But I'm hungry right now, Naruto said before running back to the kitchen and pulling the door open. Then revealed some leftover pizza boxes, bottles of sake, and an energy drink called Gatorade that originated in Mizuno Kuni. Naruto grabbed one of the boxes and began eating the cold pizza. Once that box was done, he pulled the next one out and devoured that one as well. It would take a while for him to be done. Later on, during Naruto's walk, he noticed a hungry look on the faces of the female portion of the village. He was sure that had it not been for the public laws on sexually explicit conduct, said woman would ravish him. Eiko told him that the women always craved good-looking guys, but they would never truly be with one. The female mind is very complex and confusing, unlike guys who are just far too simple to get. The white-haired boy feared that the day would come when he would let his guard down and boom, he would be in a large sex orgy, with him being the only male among them. He continued walking until he saw that was his team in the training ground, and that said teammates were already there. He looked around and saw his teacher wasn't there, which told him he was going to be late again. I think Sensei does this all the time. He was late yesterday, and well, I guess I don't have to wake up this early anymore. But I feel like I don't like talking to these two, so I think I'll just chill for a bit, he thought, before changing his direction to the forest next to him, and laid down in a tree and allowed his eyes to rest. He needed the extra sleep for today. It was several hours before the arrival of Hadake Kakashi. He walked casually towards the two and raised his hand, saying, "Yo," to the both of the cannon, who got pissed and immediately. Well, Sakura did. Sasuke was more glaring at the masked man. "Both you and Naruto are late," she yelled, with Kakashi looking confused as he laughed at her words. "Please, Sakura, I'm not some low-ranked academy student," he said before looking back at the trees. "Naruto, why don't you grace us with your Why don't you grace us all with your presence?" he said. The two Genins turned their heads to the location Kakashi was looking at, but found no trace of their white-haired teammate. Sakura then looked at Kakashi in confusion. Kakashi-sensei, I don't think Naruto is here. Sasuke-kun and I have been here since 7 and neither of us have seen him," she said, wondering how her sensei could make such a mistaken perception, with him being a Jonin and all. I've been here since 8, Pinky. You might have noticed if you weren't so concerned about the Uchiha," Naruto said, with both of his teammates looking at his direction, and saw him leaning against a tree. "Yo," was all he said with a wave of his hand. Sasuke looked shocked beyond words at seeing his teammate just stand there as if he was a ghost. "I didn't even see him appear. What type of power are you hiding, Naruto?" he thought. Sakura, however, was quick to overcome her shock as her shock turned to anger and she spoke. "Naruto, why are you late?" she yelled, only to see Naruto picking his ear before he responded in a cool, calm tone. "You'll wake the dead with your voice, Pinky," Sakura growls. "Anyway, I didn't wake up early enough to come here, so I slept in and woke up at 9, he said with Sakura growling, but Kakashi intervened. "Anyway, now that you're here, let's start the test." Kakashi walked over to a tree stump and put down a timer. He held out 2 silver bells before tying them to his waist. It's 10:30 right now. You guys have until 12 to get the bells from me. Come at me with the intention of killing me. Are you sure about that, Sensei? Sakura said with a little concern in her voice. She did not want to see her sensei badly beaten by her Sasuke-kun. Kakashi wonders if she was showing concern for him, or concern that Sasuke was going to beat him badly. Don't worry about me, Sakura. Just worry about yourselves. After all, you guys won't land a single scratch on me. Not a jonin for nothing, you know. Naruto let out a little laugh. Kakashi glanced at Naruto before flicking the bells. Sakura looked at the bells and only saw 2. Kakashi-sensei, why are there only 2 bells when there are 3 of us? I'm glad you asked, Sakura. You see, in this examination, there are only two of you who pass. The ones that don't get the bell will go right back to the academy, he said with an eye smile. Sasuke and Sakura immediately held looks of determination on their face. That said, they would get the bells. While Naruto simply yawned into his hand, thus catching the attention of everyone. Can we hurry this along? I don't want to waste another second here, Naruto said, with Sakura and Sasuke giving him looks of confusion. Okay, everyone. Ready, set, begin, he said. While with everyone vanishing, Kakashi surveyed the area and was impressed with the way the gunmen hid themselves. Not bad for some beginners, as they are doing quite a good job of hiding. Wait, I only sense two. Where's the other one? Kakashi asked, in his head only to feel a presence behind him. You know, Sensei, it's not a good idea to let your guard down, not even for Kennen, said Naruto. He then raised his arms, which held a kunai, sent it towards Kakashi's spine. Kakashi took the shot and shocked was Kakashi took the shot and was shocked that Naruto appeared behind him without any form of hint or sound to indicate his presence. It's as if he knows the silent kill technique from Kiri. I thought that this kid was the class Doby. What's going on here? Kakashi asked himself before he turned into a log and reappeared on the other side of the clearing. What the hell is that idiot doing? Sasuke thought. Though he was curious about how Naruto was able to appear right behind the man without even hinting at his presence. Sakura, however, was more concerned with finding Sasuke than watching her idiot teammate get his ass kicked right now. Of course, she would watch that, but only with Sasuke. Kakashi was about to reach into his pouch to pull something out, but Naruto spoke, getting his attention. Kakashi, I'm afraid I cannot allow you to take out that book, he said, closing his eyes and stood still for a moment. Kakashi, however, was surprised that Naruto knew of his book, but he didn't heed his warning as he pulled said book out. Oh, and why is that? He asked, only to see it burst into flames. He looked up to see Naruto's left index and middle finger were extended with smoke coming off of them. Naruto then brought up his right arm to his back, and in a swirl of flames appeared the Kyuubi sword in his hand, making Kakashi's eyes widened. He then saw Naruto's eyes open to reveal full blood red-slitted eyes as he removed the sword and stabbed the blade into the ground before more flames surrounded the sword that told Kakashi he would be at death's door for dinner tonight if he didn't at death's door for dinner tonight. If he didn't take this seriously, that is. Because I'm going to make sure that your attention is focused on nothing but me. Now let's go, Naruto said before charging forward and extending the Nodachi class sword in a wide slash. Kakashi jumped over the slash and landed behind the white-haired boy, only to see the boy strike the ground he once stood on and made his eyes widen once more when the blade touched the ground. It burst right into flames, but these flames weren't your regular orange, but that of pure pitch black. But Naruto took advantage of this and vanished from sight and reappeared behind Kakashi, getting ready to stab him through his chest. Kakashi, however, quickly rolled to the side, dodging the stab. He chucked the kunai at Naruto's head, only to see the boy cut through it. Naruto then raised his sword high and sent it towards it down Kakashi, who took out more kunais and blocked the sword by crossing his arms, and held it. Naruto pushed till the tip of his sword was touching the ground. Naruto then pulled back hard, slicing through the kunai with ease before trying to stab Kakashi through his stomach, only to see said man backflip himself off the ground, making Naruto's sword stab the earth. Kakashi was about to follow his attack, only to see Naruto grasp hard on his sword, before twisting the handle, causing it to ignite in flames and break the rock underneath it. Naruto then called out, "Exceed," and charged towards Kakashi, but this time the speed and the power was far stronger than before. Kakashi brought up his kunai, thinking that they blocked blocked the hit. He was soon suddenly awakened when the hit came and tore through the kunais and Kakashi himself, only to reveal that he was actually a shadow clone. Naruto still tore through it before twisting himself on the heel of his right foot and coming to an abrupt stop. He pushed himself up to his feet thanks to his sword. He was not only the only one marveled by the attack, as Sasuke and Sakura could not believe their eyes. They always thought that Naruto was the weakest member of the team, so he would be taken out first, and that they would get their chance to pass the test. However, seeing the way the white-haired boy was fighting their sensei and was keeping him on his feet told them otherwise. They then saw Kakashi sneak up behind Naruto and of chop the back of his neck, seemingly knocking him out. Well done, Naruto. But as you said, never let your guard down to your opponent, he said, quickly seeing the boy fall forward, only to be shocked when the boy turned into black dust and vanished into the ground. What the hell? He questioned, only to hear claps from behind his back. When he turned, he saw Naruto clapping his hands, with the words sticking in his back firmly, and didn't look like it would fall anytime soon, which made him wonder one thing. How the hell did he get his sword to stick on his back like that? Was he using chakra? Did he apply glue to his back? What did he do? His thoughts were broken when Naruto spoke. You know what, Kakashi? That was very impressive. But I think I've had enough fun for one day, and simply passed the test, Naruto said as he held up two silver bells. Bells that made Kakashi go wide-eyed and looked at his waist, to see that the said silver bells were gone. He looked at Naruto for an answer, was greeted to the. He already knew the question and answered for him. If you're wondering how I got the bells, well, I simply got them when I appeared behind you. It only took one full second for me to take the bells from you. While you were distracted, Naruto simply said as he jingled the bells, and allowed their sound to be heard throughout the area. Sasuke and Sakura looked on in disbelief at what they had just saw. But before they could even question it, they felt a pair of hands on their shoulders. They were soon tied to the post, with Naruto leaning on his in the center, a big smirk on his face, evident of his accomplishment. Well, I think I would be correct when I say Naruto's the only one that has to remain a shinobi. He doesn't need the academy, Kakashi said, with Naruto's smirk getting bigger. But you two, Sakura and Sasuke, should quit being shinobi altogether, he stated with both Genen's eyes widening. Why should we quit? Sakura yelled, the ropes holding her down, which helped ensure that Kakashi would live another day. Because you're both a bunch of wannabes. Well, Naruto here is the only true shinobi material, he said, with Naruto's smirk getting even bigger, while Sasuke and Sakura were both pissed. What? I'm an Uchiha, yet this 3-time Orphan Academy dropout loser is better than me? He yelled, only to be hit on his neck by an angry Naruto. You can't do that to Sasuke. Shut up, Naruto said, giving her an icy glare. A glare that made her shut her ass up in an instant. You two are understanding what it means to be a ninja. Tell me, why do you think you were divided into teams and are doing this training? Have you even grasped the answer to this test? Kakashi asked, with Sakura and Sasuke trying to think of the answer, but only Naruto knew the answer. Teamwork, Naruto said as he leaned against his training post, bringing all the attention to himself. The purpose of this test was to see if we could exhibit teamwork necessary to become a Genin. Sakura scoffed at the words, only for her eyes to widen at Kakashi's answer. Correct. How did you figure it out? Said Kakashi as he released Sasuke, who moved back to his post to brood. There were a few points in your briefing that made no sense. The first was your suggestion of not eating breakfast under the guise of losing it. However, yesterday you arrived 3 hours late, and if your reputation is anything to go by, you are always at least 3 hours late for anything, unless it is a meeting with Hokage. That means you told us with the intention of weakening us to the point that we allowed our hunger to affect our thinking, stated the white-haired boy, causing the eyes of his fellow students to widen, while Kakashi's narrowed. Secondly, your statement that regardless of one person would fail this test, that contradicts everything we have already been taught in the academy. However, since the founding of the village, no Genin squad has less than 4 members. The Genin and their Jonin instructor. Once again, this was done purposely, most likely so that you could see if we had what it took to complete the mission regarding of circumstances. In this case, that would mean one of us returning to the academy, finished the boy with a sigh. Are you Uzumaki Naruto? According to the file I have, Uzumaki Naruto would never thought this out so thoroughly, stated Kakashi with narrowed eyes. Of course it says that. After all, I'm the kid who everybody loves to hate. Aside from that, I've had a full month to fix the problems caused by the teachers at the academy. A chakra reserved to put most Jonin to shame, and a weapon with a power that is endless on certain terms. Don't think for 1 second that I would allow myself to remain the same pathetic boy you once knew, finished Naruto with a smug smirk. The others were confused by what he meant when he said he had a secret weapon, though Kakashi had a feeling that he knew what he was talking about. Back to the subject at hand. Naruto was the only one who showed teamwork, as he made sure that all of the tension was on him and him alone. He thought that you two would be smart enough to attack me while he had my attention. Since he had the bells, all you would have to do is keep you two safe, and himself would fight for a spot on this team, he said with Sasuke and Sakura's eyes widening. He was about to say more when their binds were broken and Naruto handed him his bells, thus confusing everyone. However, the time is yet to expire, and I did what you said. I released their binds, then gave them my bells. Therefore, we all pass. Though, I'm the one that deserves the title of Genin, Naruto said as he began to wait a minute. But wait a minute, you cheated, Kakashi said. The confusion was so great that he even forgot the clock had yet to ring, which it did just now. I'm a shinobi, so deal with it, Naruto said as he continued walking forward. Sasuke, however, looked at the bells in his hands, as the memory of what Naruto just did played itself in his mind. He could not believe a Dobi like Naruto was able to beat a Jonin and use some weird sword against him. He looked at Naruto's retreating form and spoke. Dobi, tell me where you got that sword, he said, with Naruto pausing for a moment and looking over his shoulders. No, was his only reply as he continued to walk forward, but this time Sasuke was hot in his trails. Sasuke wanted answers, and he knew he was gonna make Naruto talk. Before he even knew what happened, Naruto vanished from sight and reappeared behind him, Yamato drawn in his hand. Foolish, Naruto said before sheathing Yamato. It was then that Sasuke's chest exploded in blood and flew out like a fountain and covered the area, or so he thought. There was a small flash before Sasuke stood, the wound gone, and he appeared to be fully healed. He looked up to be greeted by a hard glare from the former blonde, who did not look happy about that little stunt he tried to pull. Know this, Uchiha. There will always be someone stronger. And today, you found yours, Naruto said before disappearing in a quick flash. Time skip. The next day, Naruto stood in his training ground, working on his newest creation. Thanks to Nero's helpful direction, Naruto had just created his third Fuck, I can't speak. Naruto had just created his third gun, called Bloodfang. Its design was made after his father's personal creation that resembled Nero's Blue Rose, which was a twin 350 4-caliber Magnum that was painted blood red and customized for quick release and better power. He was trying to work out all the kinks in this baby, as he did not want the gun to be weak. He had an idea on using the QB's chakra in conjunction with the gun to not only add in more power, but give the bullets power to explode and set its target on fire. With this added effect, it would make the power and damage percentage much worse than before. Incendiary rounds. Okay, Naruto. Aim at the tree and charge your chakra into the gun. Kyuubi said, with Naruto nodding as he began to do what he's told. He channeled Kyuubi's chakra into the gun, making it glow red before he pulled hard on the trigger and felt himself being pushed back due to the aftershock. Naruto watched the bullet streak through the air before hitting a tree, and watched the tree erupt in flames. Wow, kid. You still need to work on your control of my chakra, but other than that, good job, Kyuubi said with Naruto nodding. He was then about to fire another round until an Anbu appeared behind him. Excuse me, but Hokage-sama would like to see you, Uzumaki Naruto, the Anbu said with Naruto nodding. The Anbu then grabbed the boy's arms, and soon they both appeared in the office of Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was currently having his clones break on the useless paperwork, while he himself read through the important files. Sure, he hated paperwork, but he could still file the important stuff in case it's discussed in a meeting. In case it's ever discussed in a meeting. Naruto-kun, just the person I wanted to see. There's something I wish to discuss with you, Sarutobi's voice said, his voice not sounding like this was a joking matter. What is it, old man? Naruto asked as he sat down on one of the chairs before the Hokage. Recently, the Princess of the Land of Heart was on her way to visit the Fire Country's capital, discuss future trading agreements with the Fire Daimyo. However, it was said that on her way through the Land of Grass, she disappeared and hasn't been seen for the last 3 months. And her caretakers are very worried about her safety, Hiruzen said, Naruto raising an eyebrow. What exactly are you trying to say? Naruto said as he saw the old man lay on his scroll. Naruto, you've been assigned your first A-rank mission. I want you to go and find the Heart Country Princess, Nodoka. That is it for Mission 3. Mission 4. Chapter 4. The Journey to the Heartland. Can't speak still. Alright. Some author's notes. You see, this is a harem story. And in the story there will be... You really think I'm gonna spoil the fun? Oh, silly. Alright, let's get right back into the chapter. How the fuck did I get into this shit? Naruto asked himself while on one knee as he pushed himself up. The beast before him screeched loudly as it sent an attack Naruto's way. Naruto quickly dodged and summoned Yamato to his hands, and began racing towards the beast, which sent one of its tentacles at the white-haired boy. When he felt he had enough speed, he jumped backwards. He jumps towards the beast and unsheathed Yamato from its scabbard, and slashed at the tentacles heading for him. Another tentacle came at him from above, but he vanished before said tentacle could hit him. Naruto reappeared on top of the tentacle and started running down its length, aiming for the head. More came at him, but quickly thinking, he resheathed the sword and placed it on his hip as he took out his guns, Angel and Reaper. He took many shots at the tentacles heading his way before putting away his guns and extending his right arm, calling out, Rebellion! And the broadsword appeared in his hands. Naruto then took more slashes at the approaching tentacles before he jumped off off the one he once stood on as it was heading towards the ceiling. Naruto placed the sword on his back and did the seals before calling out, Demonic Fire Release, Black Fire Dragon Jutsu. he yelled, launching a huge blast of black fire at the beast as one of its head flew at him. The head was consumed in the blast before exploding and its blood rained down in the summoning area. Before the white-haired giant could celebrate his victory, he felt his arms wrapped up and bonded. He then looked forward to see a tentacle heading straight for him. Before it hit, he heard someone call out, "Naruto!" Before everything went black. Flashback. Naruto was now on his way through the land of grass as he heard from the locals about what happened. They told him that the priestess was attacked by some weird-looking creature, and that there were and that they were killed, except a few, who were far too sacred to mention. The ordeal took place. They said that the young girl was taken to a location that once held an old clan house, with the clan long since gone. Therefore, he was now on the road towards said clan home. To think I would risk my life to do this. But I guess I can't really complain, since my ancestors probably had it worse, Naruto thought with Kyuubi nodding in his head before responding. Yes, and for the record, I am the nine-tailed fox sealed inside of an idiot whose ancestors happen to be one of the three people I've grown to respect, Kyuubi said. He remembered when he first fought Sparda, and how the man overpowered him. He wished he could kill Sparda that day while working with the devil, and seeing how the man was willing to do anything to get what he wanted, even going as far to lose his power to save the human race from the war. Yeah, well, at least you're more useful when I use you, Naruto said in his mind, making Kyuubi growl. He then saw an open area and his eyes widened looking at it. Damn, this is big as hell, Naruto said before looking at the area in front of him. It was like the Hyuga clan home, but with a taller wall surrounding the main and minor structures. From where Naruto was standing, you could see the huge front gates and the gigantic five-story building that made up the main house. In all aspects of the word, this place was the shit for anyone living there. It looks like whoever lived there was loaded with the green faces, Naruto said to himself as he approached the gate and placed one hand only to recoil at the intense heat. He looked at his hand and saw that it took on a third-degree burn. Well, that was unexpected, Naruto said to himself, seeing his skin rebuild itself due to his devil essence and Kyuubi. Naruto looked back at the gate and saw a small flash before it vanished and left the gate. It must be a defensive measure created to protect whatever the fuck is in there, Naruto said, flexing his hand before he began to plan his next move. Looks like a fire-type seal. To make sure that nobody gets in, you should use me to get in, Kyuubi said, with Naruto nodding. The white-haired boy then closed his eyes and called out, Kyuubi. With that, the Nadashi blade that was Kyuubi's double arm formed in his hands. Once he gripped the blade, he opened his eyes to reveal that they were now blood-red and slitted. Okay, now then, to use the next step, Naruto said as he raised his hand. As he raised the sword up to his shoulders and ran forward, extending the blade. The blade hit a small barrier, but that broke soon stepped the gate, bringing the seal back out in the open. It was at least 12 feet in diameter and looked like strange arcane symbols piled on top of simple spiral. The seal glowed brighter as the blade neared it, and it shot balls of fire at Naruto, making him recoil and pull back as he watched the seal glow before vanishing again. Alright, fuck this, Naruto said as he raised his right arm and a red glow overtook Naruto before it revealed him in his one-tailed form but something was straying behind him. It looked like a knife of some sorts, with armor all over him and a fox mask on. In his left hand was a shield, and in his right hand was nothing, but he was doing the same thing as Naruto. Naruto called back at the QB, and soon the blade appeared in the hand of the knight. He then summoned Yamato and repeated the process and stabbed the gate, but this time the two blades were working as one. The blades that worked with the fire and darkness each worked as one and continued its battle with the seal. Naruto was using Kyuubi's sword to battle the sphere's firepower, while Yamato was using its darkness power to corrupt the seal. The seal glowed from orange to yellow to red and purple. Purple powered the seal in purple before the seal vanished and Naruto was now allowed into the area. The sword soon vanished into the boy's arms as he panted heavily. That took a lot out of him, but it was only a matter of time before he got this open. Well, that was pretty hard, kid. I would say that you did do a good job with Yamato, though, Kiryu said, remembering when Sparda used that blade in his battles. Remembered it. He remembered it as clear as day, and how the man would say thousands of demons with just a single slash on the blade. And to say that it was something he wished he could do, but he supposed that Naruto could have all the fun, for now. Well, that doesn't matter now. I need to get this shit over with and try to find this princess, Naruto said before he walked in the area, missing the dark figure behind the tree. His back was turned to. The figure had a dark smirk on his face. As he watched Naruto walk into the area before he stepped away from the tree and began to walk away. It looks like my blood is yet to vanish, or extinguish itself. Excellent. Give me 1 second. He thought before he vanished into black dust that flew into the air and took him away from the area. Back to Naruto. The white-haired boy stared in awe at the area before him. There were 4 one-story houses at every corner of the compound, and 4 two-story homes surrounding the huge tower in the middle. The place even had its own streets. Of course, it was deserted. The paths had not been walked on for a while. Until today, that is. Naruto could not help but marvel at the place, and was even thinking of staying for a night or two. He made 3 shadow clones and gave them their instructions. Okay, guys. I want each of you to check out a different part of this place. Maybe we can find some resources here to help us out on this mission. Naruto said, Naruto said with the clowns nodding. Also, be very careful. Something in this place doesn't feel normal, he said, with the clones going to their locations, himself going to his. First clone. The first clone made its way to one of the houses and opened the door. The clone walked in with a smile on his face. Wendy, I'm home. So put on a happy face, because here's Johnny. Author's note from the old school classic, The Shining. The camera. There we go. He said, walking to the door only to see no one there. Well, I can't say I'm not disappointed. Oh well, let's see what this place has got, Clone 1 said, walking into the house. He could not help but whistle at the appearance of the place. As he walked into the kitchen and looked around the area, that saw the cabinets were filled with dishes and glasses, perfectly stacked and not 1 ounce of dust on it. He found that a little peculiar that there was no dust, no grime, not a single sign the place had been vacated. Well, this is pretty strange. Let's see what else we got. What else is here? The clone said, looking around the house, and was definitely seeing something strange. The carpet was still fresh, the walls were unmarred, the hardwood parts were completely spotless. Naruto's clone knew one thing for sure. This place was possessed by ghost maids. He laughed at the joke and continued walking around the hallway until he felt something behind him. He turned around and saw that it was only air. Voice starched, no, scratched at the back of his head in confusion. Well, that was strange, he said, not seeing the cloaked figure approach him from behind. Second clone. The second clone was in the first house, overlooking everything that was in there. He liked how everything looked, as it was a type of house a single person or a couple could use as their first home. He looked around and couldn't help but feel like he wasn't alone in this place. As if he was in the presence of several people in this place, yet he was the only one here. It felt like he was being watched by someone who had ill intentions towards him. Shh, I'm just overreacting to nothing. Besides, this is a nice ass place. Clone said to himself as he walked into the bathroom, turned the sink on and splashed some water on his face. He did not notice the cloaked figure that now stood in the open door of the bathroom and was prepared to take the white-haired boy out. Third clone. The third clone was now on its final house after looking through the other three, but had not found anything strange besides the fact that the shit was spotless. He never would have thought the place would have been spotless, no matter how long the place had been deserted. He figured that there would have at least been some dust, but there was not one, and that confused the clone. Oh well, it's not like it could get any worse, the clone said to himself as he walked over to the fridge and opened it. The clone saw the fridge was packed over with leftovers, frozen meats, and hey, pizza, the clone said to himself before it opened to reveal one slice. Well, that sucks. Oh well, I guess one is good enough, eh? The clone said before eating up the slice quickly, before turning and throwing the box behind his back, not seeing that the cloaked figure was behind him holding a blade in his hands. All three of the creatures raised their blades high and were about to take the clones out when their hands appeared before the figures, each holding a copy of Angel Reaper and Blood Fang. The clones pulled the triggers and the blast hit the figures, making all three of them break down in the sand. Naruto looked back, hearing the sound of gunshots before seeing the reason why. Before him, the dust began to appear, and the creatures appeared before them. Each one of them looked like a skeleton dressed in cloaks, and each held a scythe in their hands. Naruto then felt the memories of his clone protrude his mind, and that told him one thing. He was not alone from this place at the get-go. Well, ain't this a bitch? Oh well, I guess there is no use in hiding yourself anymore, eh? Alright, let me show you what I can do. Yamato, Naruto said before revealing the Okatana. Naruto said with the Okatana appearing in his hands. Almost as soon as this happened, one of the demons pounced to attack him, only to be sliced vertically by the white-haired boy, before he vanished and reappeared behind the backs of several others, with their heads coming off. Naruto quickly looked behind his back and saw more coming at him, so he dismissed Yamato and pulled out Angel and Reaper, began firing rounds at the demons. Fired at once, which quickly died on the spot. Then he ran up to the body and used it as a trampoline, which helped him flip his body to face the ground. He then began to spin and fired more rounds. The demons below, which killed about two before more materialized themselves. He landed in the middle of somewhere and then began firing more on his sides before aiming his guns behind his back and to his left. He did this a couple more times until all of the demons were gone. Once he saw that they were gone, he began to walk away from the scene, only to spin around and fire off another round off Reaper, which watched the bullets curve in the air before going towards the head of another demon that thought it could sneak up to him. Naruto scoffed as he put away his quote-unquote toys and began walking toward the tower in the compound. Something told him that this was going to be the main reason for all of this. He walked into the tower and saw that it was pretty tall. It had a lot of windows around it and was open to light. The staircase was going all the way to the top. As soon as Naruto was in completely, the doors closed and the whole place was covered in darkness.
Who dares to show himself within this sacred area?
The voice said. It sounded like that of an old man. Scared? You call this place sacred with all the demons around here? Naruto asked.
Shut your mouth, you little brat. If you know what's good for you.
Oh, fuck.
Shut your mouth, you little brat. If you know what's good for you.
Said another voice with a stutter in his voice. Well, tell me who or what the hell you are. Maybe, and then maybe I'll be cooperative.
Watch your tone, child. Also, you don't know. You know that it's impolite not to introduce yourself before asking for their names,
said another voice that had a deep tone to it. Fine. My name is Sparda Namikaze Naruto. Now, who the fuck are you three? Naruto tapped his foot, getting impatient with the voices.
Sparda! You're the descendant of that bastard son.
The old man's voice yelled, with Naruto nodding his head. They were obviously pissed off. Yep, I'm his last descendant, Naruto said, only to hear the voice growl loudly.
I've dreamed for many... You know what, fuck it. I've dreamed for many years of the day I killed the bastard child of Sparda. Now I can get that by killing you. Now, descendant of Sparda, prepare for your punishment, the deep voice said.
Naruto was expecting an assault of some kind, but instead was greeted with the force simply vanishing into thin air. It was now free falling to the ground below. The ground, which he figured, was covered in spikes.
Well, I didn't see that coming.
Oh well, no use in complaining, Naruto said to himself before summoning Kyuubi's one-tailed form and using the fox claw to slow down his descent. He was a little sigh of relief as he saw how deep the hole was now and wondered what he should do now.
You should continue downwards,
the Kyuubi said as he got over the surprise and was now waiting to see what would happen now. Continue down? But there couldn't be anything down there of importance, Naruto said before letting himself go down a bit, now heading towards the lower level of the tower. It's because this place has a very high sense of demonic activity, and the only way to find out what it is we need to explore it, the Kyuubi said. He saw Naruto make it all the way down to the bottom. Naruto looked to the side and saw that there were indeed spikes at the bottom. They looked like they had some dried blood on them, meaning that if they have been used before. Naruto simply looked ahead and sighed in boredom as he walked down the hall. Guessed that he had time to kill before going back up to find the princess. And that is it. That is chapter 4. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'm sorry for quiet. I didn't realize how low my mic was. But I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, like or subscribe would mean the world to me. But this is Kaga Voiceover, signing off for now. Goodbye.